Hi, everybody. Welcome to the QB School. I am JT O'Sullivan. Today, JJ McCarthy, preseason week 1, 2025, back from injury, locked in, fired up. Let's get it going. Welcome to the QB School. Before we dive into the video, a quick reminder about the Quarterback School Patreon community. This group is the foundation, the bedrock of the community. Not only is it a great, inexpensive way to support the channel, but you get even more Quarterback School content. So you dig these videos, you will love the Quarterback School Patreon community. Hop over there, join, become a member. I appreciate your support. As for this video, let's get into it. All right, JJ McCarthy, preseason week 1, 2025, move the launch point, get us started. I really like how they block the edge on this as well. Get a little completion. Normally, I'd say an easy completion here. Not really an easy completion with how this thing is gone down. We'll probably get into the weeds here about why this looks and feels slightly late for me. So what's going on here? On all these nakeds keepers, there's essentially someone in the flat, someone in the over, and when it's a condensed formation like this, someone to the corner. If it's normal splits, you get someone like in the comeback area. So you get this kind of, and really the read is almost usually first flat, second over, third, whatever's deep. Now this is probably my least favorite way to do it when you have someone on the perimeter here, come down here and like faux block and then get out here. I dislike it the most because I just feel like it stretches this thing unnecessarily, makes the throw harder. So to me, it's just one of my least favorite ways to do it. Now, the thing that I love about doing it with what they do at the fullback here is he comes across and instead of being the guy who gets out into the flat, which I normally think is a nice play and we see it later for not much, this time he comes over and secures the edge. So again, who knows who's going to play in these preseason games? These dudes have dudes on the edges. Let's secure the edge, protect our quarterback who was hurt, and make it feel secure. Okay, so first let's just watch the concept, then we'll talk about maybe why this thing is a little late. So up top, see the Addison come down, get out of it. Not a great throw, slightly behind him. Okay, if that wasn't there, you see the over, you see the corner, you're not going to have a lot there. So why is this late? The ball is on the 13, right? The easiest way to think of this is where you want to touch for a quarterback usually on these naked or keepers is 10-ish yards deep. So anything shorter than 10 yards, you're going to feel like you're out there before. You usually want to be mirrored up with the over. So you want this kind of relationship. But you also don't want to be so fast that the flat, whatever's in the flat, is not ready for you. But if you get anything plus 11 up here, like you start touching 12, 13, you're going to make these throws out on the sideline. They're going to be late. And that's kind of what happens for me here with JJ. This is just a little bit too deep. So the ball's on the 13. He comes out and touches, he almost touches the goal line. And that's why this throw feels like it's so far wide. Now it might, it's just one of those things where you might be like, man, you're really nitpicky. Yeah, well, this is how the play is played. There's lots of bones buried on these nakeds and keepers. And when you get that deep, the throw becomes that much more at the sideline. And now it's a little bit harder, and now we miss it. And I think if you look at this thing, you're not going to overreact to one series, but you are going to acknowledge the fact that the ball placement could be just slightly better. Now the next one here, third medium, we're going to run mesh railroad. This is a really nice job. Again, I love the play call. Super simple. Every quarterback has run this type of play many, many times. I think you could make the argument potentially that you could put it on the rail, but this works out perfectly. It's not there. You get it right down to the mesh. It's a beautiful job of just going 1 to 2. Everything is right in your face. So what I mean by that is here's the rail. So that's usually 1. And again, different teams teach it different ways. Some teams allow you to put it on this guy right away. Sometimes it's more down the field type throw. It's usually tethered with an over the ball hook. And then that mesh element. So one of these guys coming across for the mesh. And that mesh is then going to have the guy on the backside coming underneath as kind of the 2. So it's 1, 2, and then usually 3 over the ball. And in man coverage, you're usually almost always going to get one of the first two reads. So you can see the backer up top here as he matches with that thing. You know, we don't love it. Great. You know, could you potentially put it on him there and put a move on? Yeah, but I like the decision not to throw it. You know, the only other thing here I would say potentially, you know, and again, different teams teach it different ways. All right. But this over the ball hook to me is best taught with this mesh as basically two moving screens. So very rarely do you want to run this over the ball hook with an avoid mentality. You want to make this linebacker go either violently under you or over the top to help open up that rail. So if we're, you know, they're probably saying, hey, let's not avoid any sort of contact or redirect there. Let's try to run through that backer. But you can see here, it's a nice job. They try to wall the 3 up top. That creates a space for the underneath mesh, and it's a nice, easy completion. So again, you got to appreciate the kind of scaffolding here on these early pass plays. Naked, move the launch point. Mesh railroad, ball comes out quick. And again, just watch 35 here. He's going to match to the number 3, right? The back goes over here, so they've got 3 eligibles over here. So he's going to match, try to get hands on the tight end. You can see 27 here wants to pass off this underneath shallow, the mesh coming back. But it's really tough to do that when you've already collisioned the shallow from the other side. So just a nice job from JJ and company. First down, let's roll. Next one here, 12 personnel, big play action. We'll call it a post corner or shake up top. We play with a little A. Now the throw, the outcome makes it look like it's some crazy diver. I really think there was a little bit of collision at the top of this route. I love the fact that McCarthy's playing with anticipation. This is a big chunk, explosive hookup. Again, I can't overstate how I appreciate the play calling here. Block them up, take a shot. So again, what I'm talking about here on this route is up, sell the post, and then come back out of this thing. Okay, and again, we throw this thing with some anticipation, but there's some collision, holding, you know, something going on here that makes this look like a more impressive catch than I think it is a bad ball. And then on the backside, almost always tethered with a deep in. And you would just go a simple 1 to 2 to a bunch of checkdowns and outlets from the tight ends and backs. And it's just a nice, easy, clean, block them up, take a shot, first read there, let our guy win. And you can see the collision, handsy fighting right there. And when does that ball get out? So we go to separate right there. And again, that's anticipation, capital A. You know, guy coming back from injury, first preseason, you know, driving it down the field. That's not a flat, right? That's not like an RPO. That's a drive throw deep down the field, outside the numbers with anticipation. Let's go, bro. Let's go. Love it. Outstanding. And again, I think it looks like the dive and the hands fighting makes it look like it's a worse throw than it is. I don't think it's necessarily a precision throw, but that's beautiful. Next one here, another little naked keeper. This time it looks like McCarthy is checking to it or alerting to it or whatever they do as their process at the line of scrimmage to get to the play that they want. Obviously, the outcome, the result is not great, but the execution is exactly what it's supposed to be. Play fake, come up. Again, we've already talked about it. Something in the flat, something in the over, something deep to the corner when it's in a condensed formation. You know, now how they are doing this. So he's doing whatever they do in Minnesota for hands to the ears alert. The way you would want to usually universally get into these kind of nakeds. So again, naked, keeper, we're going to get to the corner. We already talked about it. We're going to get to the over, and we're going to have someone in the flat. Now, because you have the tight end here, there's a few different options you can do. I think most teams often do like a bang or a late as the number 4. So this time, the fullback is going to be in the flat. So he's going to come across. If you remember last time, he cut that end to secure the gap. Well, this time he's going to continue out, and he's going to be the first read. So 1, 2, sometimes this pops. Usually the late is available also as like a 3-4 option. And it's one of those things where, again, why are they getting to this play? You know, maybe they call a run and they want to run it if there's 2 safeties. if there's a safety down here, how are we going to block him? Are they going to reassign the point? All those types of things. There can be 8 billion different reasons that they want to get to this versus run it. From a quarterback perspective, fake, the edge is an issue. He does a nice job of getting depth here, away from this free player, off the screen, throw it to the flat, and the guy's out leveraged, and it's a no gain. So they get paid on defense too. Again, you can just see the kind of process at the line of scrimmage. Now, if you were to run this, so let's just pretend that they're running like old school weak side lead here, right? So he would come up, he's got the will. Well, which one of these guys is the will? Probably 32. This looks like a DB type. So you would have these two here, and we would be unblocked here. We're in trouble. So what you can do in the run game here is redeclare this. So make the will the Mike, then the safety becomes the will, and then we still don't have great angles. So then the fullback would be here, these two would be here, these two would be here, and then we'd probably be sifting this backside up to here and leaving the defensive end. So you've got options. It's not just, it's just choices at the line of scrimmage for how you want to handle these things. Right here, they go naked. Their process is he looks like he handles it at the line of scrimmage. He gets depth away, throws it to the flat, and it's just a no gain. Halftime, you dig the channel and you haven't already, please like, subscribe, hit the bell, get the notifications. I sincerely appreciate you supporting the channel. It does mean a lot to me, so thank you for taking the time and doing it. Again, the Quarterback School Patreon community, you know about it. Join, become a member, get even more Quarterback School content. We also have Quarterback School courses. You can check out the courses over at theqbschool.com, the website. Lots of different courses over there. Hop over there and enroll. Finally, make sure to follow me across all the social media platforms. I appreciate your support. As for this video, let's get back to it. Next one here, third down. This is probably the most disappointing throw of this first series. I'm not going to overreact, try to give you some hot take about why he skymails this thing. I think the positive thing is he looks like he makes the right decision, gets the ball to the right guy. Maybe there's someone in his lap affecting the throw. We can come up with 8 billion excuses. I don't really care. Right here, we're going to get looks like a go, what I would call a crosser, and I would call an in. We end up catching what I would say is quarter, half. So he's going to be a half field player. These guys are playing quarters. He's going to drive on that cross and take it away. It's going to create a nice hole here for the in. Again, I'm not Josh McCown. I can't tell you exactly what the drop is supposed to be. I personally prefer this play played off from gun, a 3-step drop. So 3, 1 hitch here, 2 hitch here. If you're going to throw this, you kind of alert it, let it rip. I'm sure there's some air raid purist out there that's like, you dumb, you don't know what the hell, you're not certified. Haven't done a search joke in a while. It's 1, 2, 3 all the time. Well, whatever. I will tell you that it looks like he's maybe a little early to the in with, what's more of I would classify as more of a Brady shuffle or burner drop, like more, as opposed to a traditional catch 1, 2, 3 hitch throw. That probably might help. But again, this is going to be a big hit between the hashes, work in the middle of the field. And again, it's he could also just be juiced up. He's back from injury, fired up, skymails it. 8 billion different excuses. Pick whatever fits what you care about. I would say it's a lot easier to not have to throw this when there's not, 2 mountains in front of you. But still, that's a throw we probably got to make. And we would expect him to make here pretty soon. I think he could help himself with a deeper, better timed drop. Next one here, 4th and looks like medium-ish. This is what's got to get you excited if you're a Vikings fan. Like, we're going to see him use his legs and create a little bit. Now, and I wish he would run full speed through the white, but this is just a pick stunt with the guard and the center, 45, 35, the 2 backers standing up. 45 is going to pick for 35. They can't sort it out. We end up getting a free runner. McCarthy feels it and goes and gets it himself. Now, again, when I say run through the white, I really, really mean run full speed and play the game like this is the out of bounds. Anytime you slow before you get out of bounds, it only takes one knucklehead here to put real harm on this cat and go full Drew Bledsoe. And it's not just Bledsoe. I've seen it many times. I've seen it in people's careers. I've seen dudes never be the same. I've seen it in practice. I've seen it in preseason. I've seen it in regular season games. Just run through the white full speed, please. Please. At any level of football. That is flirting with getting blasted. So again, you're catching middle field close, man. Where would you go if we had time? I don't know. There's not a lot of winners. I don't love throwing a hook versus press man coverage, but that 3 is going to probably win. Regardless, I love the fact that you can see, the foundation of how they're going to use his feet. We've moved the launch point multiple times. We've seen him now on 4th down, 4th and critical, use his legs, go get us a 1st down. All good signs. Just run through the white. Next one here, another incompletion. This one, it's hard for me to put much on JJ McCarthy here. This to me is like a, tight wide receiver slot screen. The defensive end 94 is going to be unblocked the whole way. I personally think there are better ways to do this. Okay, now don't make it seem like, oh man, you fucking YouTuber, he thinks he knows more than the guy. Whatever. Okay, these screens here, footwork wise for the quarterback, are always specific. It's never recessed. Like, take a couple drops and flip it over here. Okay, these things are tethered together. So what's important is the footwork of the wide receiver, the footwork of the quarterback have to time up, and you need this tackle who's going to be stepping down and coming out responsible for this alley player to go get him. All these things have to time out. I prefer this to happen on 5-step footwork. Okay, 4 to the left, 5 to the right. That means that this would have to time out the same. I also prefer this making it look like we're running down the field to the outside to give us a little bit more room for the tackle to get out. So when it's any sort of like inside move like this, I just feel like you're getting closer to the end. It's unnecessarily difficult and tight. You want to widen these things to allow the more space to be able to get into that tunnel or alley. So again, the first thing here is they're doing 3-step. Okay, that's a choice. It's just not my choice. Whatever. It's easy to say you're right when it doesn't work. So that makes this tighter for me. And then the wide receiver doing like an inside thing here. And again, this is not on the wide receiver. He's not like, oh, I think I'll go inside this time. This is the design of the play. And it just is too condensed. As opposed to what I prefer under center is hard 5, really wide fake, get some depth so that you're away from the end, and hopefully you create a more like trail. He's going to go make the tackle on the outside zone play. And then you come out with a wider, safer throw, and it gives this guy a little bit more room to be able to go and attack that space. So again, long-winded answer for me to say incomplete, had nothing to do with JJ McCarthy. Okay, but watch the footwork, quarterback, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now watch the wide receiver. See him come in. To me, all that does is cover yourself up behind the end. And again, it's not on him. It's the design of the play. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, knockdown, great. Thanks for nothing. But again, it's one of those things when you look at the stat sheet, you're like, damn, 4 for 7, what happened? All right, last one here, 3rd medium-ish, in that kind of green zone, alumni zone. This looks like they're trying to take a shot. I would say the thing that would make me the most nervous here is just kind of what looks like a reaction check down chuck that could easily turn into an interception, and just the decision making tethered to, hey, we already have a field goal here. If we're taking a shot and it's not there, retreating, going backwards, getting hit, throwing back across your body to a back, that could easily be what I'm used to calling like a volleyball set pick, meaning that he's going to come over here. This thing's going to be high, late down the middle. He's going to knock this thing backwards. And there's almost always a defender back here for that pick. And then you're going to make a tackle. So just being really smart. I mean, that is not a spot you want to put a lot of running backs in a contested check down situation for really, a difficult catch. Now, what's going on here? No problem with this call. They do a good job sorting it out. To me, this is a shot type play. It's maybe not my favorite type of shot. So to me here, they end up running kind of like these, this double in thing to me. Originally, I was like, man, I bet one of these guys runs the wrong route. But what I think they're trying to do is just open up this like wheel down the sideline. So I just don't love burning two guys on essentially glorified clears. I would rather play this thing as probably like traditional dagger, send this guy to the post, have this as a real in. If that in isn't there, then we've got the wheel up the sideline. What ends up happening here is we burn these two guys on the in, kind of this like double stacked in, and we're trying to get Addison the ball on this wheel. And the defender just does a great job of saying, no, I'm not going to allow you to turn up and take the wheel on this thing. And he collisions him. And now there's nothing there because we've got this check shallow because we're not ready to run. So if he were to just run, if it was 6-person protection, he would probably be over there and get the ball. Because we're in 7-person protection, we got a chip. We're pass pro first. That's why these things are a little late. So the sacrifice of the pass pro to protect your quarterback allows this thing to kind of slow develop. You can see here the tight end chip as he gets into it. You can see the space over here. And then again, as we go up here, try to hit 3 on that wheel, they're just like, no, don't think so. And so it's never there. And again, if I haven't talked a whole lot about the offensive line play, but you can be assured that the Vikings are probably working on passing off games and stunts this week, just because early in this first series, they just struggled and gave up a little bit too much of an edge here on the left side, left guard, left tackle. This is not the most difficult stunt in the world, but you can assume JJ probably feels that white of 67 right there. And again, we just can't pick it up. The left guard gets stepped on. He goes down, and now we're in all sorts of trouble. And now we're making real dangerous throws to running backs, contested catches, just kind of a decision you'd rather just get outside the pocket. If it's there, take it. If otherwise, protect the ball, throw it away, kick a field goal. So that is a wrap. JJ McCarthy, 1 series, overreaction time, I'm sure. Okay, take a deep breath. We'll be all right. I thought there were some really good signs. First off, thought he looked like he was moving well, moved around. They moved the launch point, able to get try some screens, play action, block him up. He looked, for the most part, comfortable back there. I thought for the most part was making all the throws. I thought the anticipation throw on the shake or the post corner was pretty impressive as well. Now, was it perfect? No. Okay. Young guy coming back from injury, 0 expectations for it to be perfect. But I think you saw the foundation, the structure for some really good signs. I thought the 4th down run, he looked like he had a little bit of juice. He could move, he could use his legs, all those types of things. I think they're probably going to lean into the thing that is, probably the most concerning part of it. And again, take a deep breath with you here, okay? It's 1 series of a preseason, okay? But the precision and the ball placement, kind of the accuracy of the throws, whether it's the naked keeper, whether it's the in over the middle, whether it's the shake, whether all of them, besides for maybe the mesh railroad, we could have probably put the ball a little bit more precise. Okay. I think that's fair, for whatever reason. And probably the most concerning one was the 3rd down in that we just sky mailed, but that wasn't the only one. So just maybe being a little bit more aware of the ball placement and the precision of the accuracy, I think is something that I will lean into watching the film moving forward. But overall, nice start. Looked certainly at least more than competent as far as being able to move around, make all the throws. We'll see what it looks like as we continue to see more and more, but I'm fired up. I'm excited. Thank you so much for hanging to the end. I will see you next time. Have a good one.